Woe, woe, unhappy, this is all I have to say to thee, and no word more, forever.
What is the torment that drives your wife so quickly out of the palace, Oedipus? I feel she brings a storm.
Let the storm come if it will. I must know my birth. I must know it, however humble. Perhaps she, for she is a queen, and ashamed and proud, is ashamed that I was born so meanly. But I consider myself a child of fortune, and while she brings me gifts, I shall not lack honor. For she has given me life itself.
Ah yes, there are signs written in the book of Thebes of what is to come, and we may read them, casting our thoughts into the future and drawing in new knowledge. For we have seen how the world goes, and we have seen the laws that it obeys. Cithron, mountain of Oedipus, the moon, will not rise in tomorrow's evening sky before our king calls you his true father, his only nurse and mother. And then you will have your greatest glory. You will be honored with dances and choirs for your gentle kindness as the king. Hail to the god Apollo! May he be content with all our words. Pan walks among the mountains, and one of the immortal nymphs could have laid with him. Who was the goddess who became your mother, Oedipus? Or was she the wife of Apollo? For he loves the wild meadows and the long grass. Or was it the prince of Cyllene, Hermes? Or Bacchus, whose palace is at the mountaintop? Did he take you as a gift from the nymphs of the Helicon, with whom he plays through all his immortal years?
I never met the shepherd or encountered him, my people. But the man I see, there must be the one I have been seeking. His age answers my riddle for me, for it holds as many years as our messengers. And look, those who serve him are my own servants. But you have met him before. You can tell me whether I'm right.
Yes, we recognize him, the most faithful of Laius' shepherds.
And you, Corinthian? You must tell me, is this the man you know?
It is, my lord. You see him right there?
You, sir, come to me. Look me in the eyes and tell me whether I am right. Did you once serve Laius?
Yes, I was born in his palace. I did not come from another country.
Your life? How are you employed?
Most of my life, I watched his flocks.
And where was their pasture? They had a favorite meadow.
Yes, sometimes Chithron, sometimes the places near.
Did you see this man at Chithron?
Why would anyone go? And who do you mean?
Right here, standing beside me? Do you recognize him?
My memory is not quick. I do not think so.
We should not wonder at this, your majesty. I knew this man very, very well. And remind him of his news. That for 3 long years, we shared flocks together in the fields of Laius, of course. Did this not happen? I spoke and knew it.
Time is long since then. Yes. It's the truth.
Good. Good, now tell me. You know that child that you gave me?
What do these questions mean?
That child. Here is that child, my friend, who was so young back then.
Damn you! You not keep your secret?
Wait, shepherd. As I listened, do not find fault. As I listened, I found more fault in you than in him.
Ha! What have I done wrong, most mighty king?
You will not admit the truth about that child.
He wastes his time. He speaks, but it is all lies.
When it would please me, you will not speak, but you will when I make you cry for mercy.
Please, my king. I am an old man. Do not hurt me.
Take his arms, tie them quickly.
But why, poor child? What more do you want to know?
This boy, you gave him to someone?
Yes, And I should have prayed for death that day.
Well, your prayer will be answered now if you lie to me.
But you will surely kill me if I tell you the truth.
He drives my patience to exhaustion.
I did tell you. I did give him the child.
Where did it come from? Your home? Another's?
It was not mine. It was given to me.
By who?
Please.
Someone in the city? I want to know the house.
Please, my king. No more questions. No more.
You die if I have to ask again.
The child was born in the palace of King Lais.
By one of his servants, or was it a son of his own blood?
King, how shall I tell a story of such horror?
And how shall I hear it? And yet I must hear.
And the child was called his son. But your queen may tell you the truth of that, most surely.
Jocasta gave you the child?
Yes, my king.
Why? What were you to do?
I was to destroy him.
She told you that?
Yes. She was afraid. A terrible prophecy.
What?
There was a story. He would kill his parents.
You gave the boy away to this stranger?
Yes. I pitied it, my lord. And I thought he would protect it. But he saved its life only for present sorrows. For if you are the man he says, you must know your life was washed by evil powers.
All that was foretold will now be made true. Light! Now turn back and die. I will not look on you. See, this is what I am. Son of parents I should not have known. I lived with those I should not have touched, and murdered those a man must not kill.
Every man who has ever lived is numbered with the dead. They fought with the world for happiness, yet all they won was a shadow that slipped away to die. And you, Oedipus, are all those men. I think of the power which carried you to such victories and such misery, and I know there's not a joy of triumph in the world. Oedipus aimed beyond the reach of men and fixed with his arrowing mind perfection and rich happiness. The Sphinx's talons were as sharp as evil as she spoke in the mysteries of eternal riddles, and he came to destroy her, to overcome death, to be a citadel of strength in our country. He was called our king, and was the greatest noble in great Thebes, but now his story ends in agony. Death and madness hunt him, destruction and sorrow haunt him. Now his life turns and brings the rewards of his greatness. Glorious Oedipus, son, and then father, in the same chamber, in the same silent room. Son and father in the same destruction. Your marriage was the harvesting of wrong. How could it hold you where your father lay, and bear you in such silence for such an end? Child of Laius, I wish I had never known you. For now there's only mourning, sorrow flowing from our lips, and yet we must not forget the truth. If we were given hope and life, it was our work.
My lords of Thebes, on him rests all the honors of our great country. When he is here, what has transpired? When you witnessed it for yourself, how will you be able to hold your grief in silence? Weep. Weep if you have ever loved the royal house of Thebes. For I do not believe the great streams of the Phasis or the Ister can ever wash these heathen walls to purity. The crimes crimes they hold inside must always be brought to light. These crimes, deliberate and considered, the sorrows we choose ourselves do bring the fiercest pain.
We have seen great wrongs already, and they were frightening. Do you bring new disasters?
Indeed, I bring a message that I may tell, and you may hear in but a few swift words. Jocasta is dead.
And she died in grief. What was the cause of her death?
You see, she ran back to the palace chambers, tearing at her hair, crying, weeping, as she became wife and mother again, in shame and in sorrow. And then Oedipus, Oedipus ran and shouted. In a fit of madness, like Da Vinci, he thundered forward, searching for the sword to slaughter his wife, whom he had once loved, but who now sickened him. Drowning, gasping, suffocating in mourning and in rage. He was driven to insanity by the spirit of his past. We did not guide him. As if led on by a ghost, he gave a cry full of fear and anguish, and leapt against the double doors of Jocasta's room. The hinges burst from their sockets and shattered inside the chamber. And there he saw his wife and mother hanging by her throat in the lethal grip of a rope. He shrieked like a wounded beast, wrenched loose the knots that tied her, and laid her on the ground. What followed was terrible to watch. He ripped the golden brooches from her robes and raised them high above his head. He plunged them deep into the sockets of his eyes, shouting that he would never again look upon the wrongs
I will never
that he had
again
committed
look upon the wrongs that I have committed
and suffered.
and suffered.
And now, all he would be able to see was the face that he so deserved. To never again look upon the ones he had loved. Repeating this like some wicked chant, he raised his bloodied hands and stabbed his eyes again and again. We then saw his vacant eyes filled with tears of blood that drenched his cheeks a ghastly shade of red. Crimson streams poured forth from his veins, dark as the blood of life, thick as a storming hail. Yes. Yes, this is that storm that has broken. This is that storm that holds both queen and king within its wretched grasp. They were rich and fortunate, as we all wish to be. But now, in just one day, see how we must mourn them. The blind rush to death, the shamed, all the evils that we have names for, they have escaped none.
We're done. We're done.
Bow,
I started walking out with no one else to do.
bow, everyone, bow together.